안녕하세요. 유이나 할아버지예요. Well, my wife and I just finished watching um, Moon Lover's Scarlet Heart Ryeo. Now, for me, it's the second time because I watched it 7 or 8 years ago, uh, long before I knew who IU was. It was one of the first Korean dramas I ever saw, and it was the first historical Korean drama I ever saw. Uh, my first impressions of that were who is this incredibly talented, charming, wonderful actress? I didn't know who she was at the time, but I was totally mesmerized by her. And the whole idea was interesting, but since then I've seen so many historical dramas. I have context. I know what Joseon is. I know what Goryeo is, and so I've had so much more knowledge about what's going on now. I didn't have it then. So then I found it all very strange. There was nothing that was familiar in what was going on, and sometimes it was a little hard to follow what was going from place to place. Now, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I couldn't believe how lovely the costumes were. I mean, I just was totally enthralled by it, and of course, the fact that it was new. This is new history to me. I studied European history in college and university. I focused on the era of the French Revolution and Napoleon. So that's my educational background. I have enormous credits in history. But I really knew nothing about the Far East. So this is the beginning of my knowing about the Far East other than as colonies of Western nations. Anyway, that's aside. The One of the things that really was hard for me was that, as okay, everybody who's not seen it before, who actually has never seen it before, doesn't know how it ends. Don't listen for the next. I'll do this when I'm done. Okay. So the ending was so incredibly tragic and sad. I was stunned by how they ended the show, and it was so awful, I thought, as an ending, that I wasn't sure I would ever watch it again because, I don't know, everything was so wonderful, and then they did this terrible thing to this beautiful girl. It was hard to take. Anyway, uh, not talking about the ending right now. Um, in any event, the show when I watched it was playing on Drama Fever, which was a streaming service that existed 7 8 years ago. Uh, then it went out of business, and the next subscription I got was with Viki, and so my Viki subscription replaced my Drama Fever subscription, and I've been watching on Viki ever since. Viki, a lot of Netflix, a little bit of Prime Video because I have Prime for other reasons. But mostly it's Netflix and Viki that I watch dramas on. In any event, years and years go by, and I think to myself, I would really like to see this again, but even though it had a bad ending, oops, oh well, it's shot now. Even though the ending was very difficult to take, I still wanted to see it again. And once I got to know who IU was, I really wanted to see it again. I became aware of IU in 2018 with Hotel de Luna, and that became my dive down the rabbit hole for IU as a singer, as an actress. I mean, that started it. Was watching her in Hotel de Luna, and now, of course, that was a couple of years later, or a year or two. So actually, it was only about a year and a half later. But in any event, you could no longer see Scarlet Heart Ryeo, at least on any of the subscription services that were available to me that had that had subtitles in English. I bet I could have found it in China or in Korea, but not with subtitles. Anyway, and then about I don't know several months ago, Vicky announced they were coming out with Scarlet Heart Ryeo again, and I thought, wow, I got a chance to see it again. And then I still hesitated because I thought, well, I remember how it ends, and you know, um, anyhow, so I decided that I would watch it anyway, but I would watch it with my wife. And I warned her that the ending may be a little hard to take, and so she hesitated a little bit, and then we decided we'd watch it, and we did, and we watched it last week, and I have to say, wow, it is even greater than I remember. IU's performance is unbelievable. I can't even believe that it's the Eighth Prince. Is the same actor who plays the male lead in when the camellias bloom. I mean, he's so different in these two roles. I didn't even recognize him. Anyway, and of course it's you know Jungi. Jungi is the male lead, the fourth prince. I'm in the weeds now. But in any event, I watched it again. The writing was fantastic. The acting was great. The soundtrack, oh my God, it's one of the best soundtracks out there. I've done a couple of songs on my channel just to look at the soundtrack and to show you some scenes, so you can get scenes from the drama by doing that. Um, but it was just fantastic. And now there was a very interesting reaction I had. Okay, again, I'm going to talk about the ending, so you can escape if you want. Um, so this time, the ending, I knew it was coming. I knew how it was going to end. And knowing how it was going to end meant there wasn't like a disappointing shock to me. One second. And the result was the ending was actually quite appropriate. It was actually quite beautiful. I really liked the ending in the end. Um, I would have liked to have it. Do I still wish there was a different ending? Yes. Do I wish there had been even a second season, which I don't want, but it could have done. They could have transited IU's character back into the modern era and taken it from there. It would have been a different drama, but it, would have had a different kind of closure in the end. But in any event, I was really amazed that actually this time around I thought it was kind of perfect from end to end. It is kind of interesting that it starts off as light and fluffy, and it's just so charming, and then it gets darker and becomes. It's funny. It's like first half is a rom-com, historical rom-com, and the second half is a traditional Sajik. But it worked. It worked really well, and so I really think that it worked that well for me because I knew the ending was going to be the way it was, and that. Go away now. I'll tell you exactly what happens. Okay. And so I knew that in the end IU was going to die. And the fact that she was going to die, knowing that all along, I don't know. It just changed the whole tone of the drama for me. It was, it's the expected ending. In any event, I wound up loving it more now than ever. And I think it's really a brilliant, brilliant work and one of my favorite dramas of all time. It's really great. And of course, like I said, the soundtrack's great. Okay, so this was me talking about Scarlet Heart Ryeo. I'm not sure how many minutes have passed. Boy, I bet it's a lot of me just blabbing. But that's it. I just wanted to talk about it because I just finished it. So it is on Viki, and if you haven't seen it, my goodness, go out and see it. And of course, you probably have seen it. Go rewatch it. You'll be amazed how it's even better the second time around. Okay, that's it for now. Okay.